Governor Siminalayi Fubara of Rivers State on Monday said that his administration would emerge stronger despite the ensuing political circumstances in the state. Fubara made the remark at the inauguration of a palace and residential quarters of the paramount ruler of Akbo Kingdom, Eze Levi Orebe, built by his administration. Meanwhile, the chairman of the All Progressives Congress in the state, in Rivers State, Tony Okocha, has called on the state governor, Siminalayi Fubara, to resign or face impeachment. Okocha made the call while describing the invitation of the 27 lawmakers to a meeting by Fubara as a Greek gift. The state's House of Assembly declined to honor the invitation from Governor Siminalayi Fubara for a meeting aimed at resolving the crisis. Separately, the chairman of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission and his commissioners have refused to appear before the House for the second time to answer questions on the use of funds allocated for local government elections. In response, the House has issued a warrant of arrest on the chairman. Notwithstanding, President Bola Tinubu hosted state governors for a Ramadan iftar with ministers and heads of key government agencies in attendance at the villa. Among those present were Rivers State Governor Sim Fubara and his predecessor, now Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike, Vice President Kashim Shettima, Chief of Staff Femi Gbajabiamila, governors from across political lines, federal ministers, and heads of agencies also attended. In line with tradition, President Tinubu is expected to host a diverse range of stakeholders throughout the Ramadan period. Joining us now on the show as we take a look at the unfolding drama in Rivers State is Annkio Briggs, a human rights activist and an environmentalist. Good morning, Madam Briggs, and welcome to the morning show.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Excellent. Now, I'm sure you've been following events, and we have had you a few times on Arise TV to discuss what's happening in Rivers State. With the ruling of the Supreme Court, is this a path to peace, as said by the governor, who's saying he will obey the order of the court and has tried to extend an invitation to the 27 lawmakers who have now been reinstated? Or is this just the beginning of a new fight for the soul of Rivers State?
Definitely. I wouldn't say it's the beginning of a fight for the soul of Rivers State. We've been fighting for the soul of Rivers State since October 2023. We are not aware, because we've not heard from either Governor Siminalayi Fubara and the Federal Capital Territory Minister, as to exactly what the issues were about or is about that led to the threat of impeachment and attack on the governor in 2023, October 2023, barely 5 months into the government of Siminalayi Fubara. We have seen a lot. The Rivers people have endured a lot since that day in October till today. We know very well, going by the judgments and counter-judgments and court cases and delivering of judgment that seems completely off the wall. When, for instance, this last judgment that led to where the governor is inviting the I call them lawmakers, because if you go by the law of other people's cases of exactly similar instances, then the lawmakers, as they defected to APC, they now claim that they didn't. But I am aware that even your station have clips, because your station reported on the day that they swore, they stood on their floor and read a letter to themselves, which was calling on them to defect to APC. And then we also saw on television where they were received by dignitaries and members, high-ranking members of the APC in River State, Port Harcourt, live. It was a live program where they were welcomed into the APC by the people that came in from Abuja to welcome them. The federal government president, the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, had also referred to them in the past, in the meeting that was the first meeting he had with them on these issues, as his children. So he can only refer to people as his children in political matters when they are actually from his party in the point of where these people have defected. They are no longer, according to the law, lawmakers of the people of River State that they have abandoned. Now, if they don't agree to that, we should wait for a judgment on the court to come back to the cases about whether they had actually defected or that they had not defected. But it would be very surprising because they have sworn an affidavit as well, which is on record, that they have defected to the APC party. Now, if the judgment that was given on Friday, last Friday, 2 Fridays ago, had said that the governor of River State should do this and should do that, and the governor is saying that he will do those things, and the first thing he would do is wait to see what the judgment says, which he did, and based on that, he had decided to invite them. And they are refusing to attend this meeting with the governor. I've heard so many things, and I've watched so many of them make reference to how disrespectful it is for the governor to invite them. The governor is the #1 citizen, if we want to be petty about it, of River State. And so I don't see how that is disrespectful when this very group of River's sons and daughters have done nothing since last year but disrespect, insult, and abuse a sitting governor. Something that the past governor of River State would never have tolerated as a governor of River State. And we also must be reminded that the past governor of River State is known to have presented a budget to 6 members of the assembly when he was governor. So it baffles the people of River State why some River sons and daughters are determined to hurt River's people. And the judiciary now has become part of the problem of River State by the judgment they give. And the federal government seem to be taking sides in the case of River State to the extent that when River's people and maybe Niger Delta people as a whole get to raise the issues of their concerns in anything to do with Niger Delta, they are seen as troublemakers. They are seen as threat makers. That is most unfair because the politics of Niger Delta is very different from any other regional politics or zonal politics in River State, in the South. And then the politics of River State is a very complex politics. It is a politics of upland and riverine dichotomy. We cannot and we will not run away from these issues as a people. But in all of this, nobody outside of River State has actually taken their time to ask the market women, the students, the civil servants that will suffer, and the whole of River's people that will suffer from this judgment that the judge has given, which has nothing to do. We're baffled how they brought the defected lawmakers into the issue that did not concern them whatsoever. It was about the local government election. It had nothing to do with the people who had defected. There is a case pending in River State which has not concluded. So we can't discuss them if their case is still pending and they have no claims The claims they are making are null and void until that cases that concerns them as to whether they have defected or that they have not defected.
Okay. I'd like to ask you this. In all of this, what do you think will be an eventual settlement? Because it looks as though, since the court decision, barring the other federal high court case about the determination even of the position of the lawmakers, the governor might have to pivot towards the godfather. So he probably still got his way in the end. What do you think will be the end solution to all of this? And also, I want you to talk about the threats earlier laid down by some groups, saying that they'll run riots and they'll do all sorts in case things do not favor, the governor and all of this. What's your take on all of those threats?
First of all, the issue of what the governor will do or should do or will not do or should not do, in my take, that will depend a lot also on the people of Rivers State, because the only support base that the governor can boast of, the only support base that he owns, is the support base of the people of Rivers State. Therefore, the governor has to tread carefully as to what he does. Because if, as in the past, when he attended the meeting with the president, if you recall, where Dr. Peter Odile and so many other PDP elders were in the villa with him, and he had a handful of people like David Briggs and just a handful of people were with him in that meeting, where he signed that document, which is unconstitutional. You saw that there were resistances against him having to sign that document. But then it shows the character of the person. He is a peaceful person. And he has stated it over and over again, that he will not run foul of the law. And so far, we have to be fair to him, that he has not purposefully disobeyed any court ruling. Now, that does not and should not give the impression, therefore, that either he is a weak person or that the people of Rivers State do not know what they want. The fact that the governor had invited them and they have refused to go is also a sign of disrespect, irrespective of whether they are claiming that he wrote the letter through his SSG. His SSG is the secretary to the to the state government. He has a right under directive to write such a letter. So some of these arguments are very petty and should not be the issues that will make Rivers people to suffer in the way that this judgment is determined to make Rivers people suffer. Now, when it comes to threats, if you recall just now, a few moments ago, I said at the beginning that Rivers State and Niger Delta as a whole, when we make complaints, genuine complaints that other people make, we are seen as troublemakers. There is no threat. There is anger and frustration amongst the people of Rivers State, amongst the people of Niger Delta. Let no one make the mistake of thinking that this will only happen in Rivers State. It won't. If it succeeds in Rivers State, it will go everywhere. It will go to other zones. The president today experienced such a thing and he did not accept it. Why should we, the people of Rivers State, accept it? I personally do not believe in godfatherism. And that's why I brought in the issue of the political dichotomy of Rivers people, which is an upland and riverine dichotomy. And that was what threw the governor, Simila Fubara, into the political arena. Fubara, before this time, if you know him, you know that he was never thinking to be the governor of Rivers State, like Jonathan was not planning to be the president of Nigeria. But when you are thrown into this situation, it does not then mean that you are enslaved by a handful of persons or a person, then taking advantage and saying, I put you there, therefore, no. So why is Rivers State not saying to the president, we put you there because the FCT minister, then the governor, gave you the vote of Rivers people. Therefore, you do what Rivers people tell you. You know, I don't believe in godfatherism, and I think it should stop. Because if we don't drop the thinking of godfatherism, then Fubra Simila Fubra, Governor Simila Fubra, in 2 years' time, will begin to prepare himself as to whom is his godson. Because if other people have done it, why shouldn't he do it?
Exactly. All right.
Go on.
Yeah. So exactly. So how do we prevent this? Because you can also say that Governor Fubara came in as governor on the wings of his godfather. So he's a product of godfatherism. How do we end this now? Because looking forward, like you've mentioned, we cannot continue on this path whereby someone comes in and there's such a disruption, and at the end of the day, it's the people of Rivers State that suffer for it. How do we stop this? That's number one. The second thing around that, okay, so I'll let you answer, but the second thing around that as well is the role of the FCT minister in all of this. And I know the elders in Rivers State, key stakeholders have stood solidly behind Governor Fubara. But do you think that because of the way in which he came in and these actions were taken earlier on, he's at the mercy of the FCT minister at this point, despite the support he's received from you?
First of all, my analysis, I don't believe that Governor Simila Fubara is at the mercy or should be at the mercy of the past governor of Rivers State, because the past governor himself has admitted publicly that even at the local government level, that he would not have become a local government chairman if the orderlies had not stepped in. And when he was local government chairman, I don't recall the orderlies telling him when to sleep and when to wake up. The other thing is that it is Rivers people who will demand that we don't want godfatherism in Rivers State. If your aim is to come and be a godfather, please sit down in your house or take care of your godchildren that God has given to you through the church. Because all of us, one time or the other, if you're a Christian, you're either a godchild or a godfather. And those are the ones that I respect because of my beliefs. Now, not political godfatherism. Look at where it has, godfatherism has brought us. And if it is okay in a place like Lagos State, where it is very clear that that pattern of choosing leadership is what happens, then we, the people of Rivers State, should reject it. Now, in the issue of the sufferings of Rivers State, when that judgment is given, lawyers have said it, that the issue of paying for paying Rivers State, its rightful and due allocation is a right, a constitutional right. And unless the court is now recognized as unturning the unturnable, which is the Constitution of Nigeria, without going to the Senate, then I think the judiciary is beginning already to chew even more than it can ever swallow. Taking Rivers State along this path is very, very dangerous. Everybody in Nigeria knows this. When you do this to Rivers State, you're doing it to Niger Delta because it has a ripple effect. It will ripple down. And the first thing it will affect is the economy. It's not a threat, it's a fact. And so if we're realistic, we have two sets of elders in Rivers State. We have political elders, who some of them are in their 40s, but they are elders. And then we have elders in Rivers State who are not elders by their political affiliation, but elders by their political party. And now we're beginning to hear we want peace. Now, this is wonderful. if there is a body language that is showing that peace is what people are beginning to talk about. I think Fubara has demonstrated that he's a peaceful man. He's doing things that some of us ordinarily are objecting to, that by the way things are playing out, Fubara should not be doing these things. But he has accepted that he is willing to do these things. And if as our governor, we are in support of him, and he does have about 90%, if not more, of the support of Rivers State. That's people. That's a huge percentage of support. And so no one should take that for granted. Now, the threats that are seen as threat is born out of frustration and anger. Frustration and anger. Because for 2 years, this governor has not been allowed to govern at all. And he has 2 years left to go before his next election comes up. And all this threat about he cannot run again, is not them that will decide that he cannot run again. It's the people of Rivers State that will decide whether he will run again or whether they will vote for him or not vote for him. For me, I believe that the only rightful way to take is the way of doing what is right for Rivers State and not for a group of persons or a particular person.
I mean, you said he's been prevented from governing, but I've been seeing him commission projects here and there and still the work of governance, and he keeps saying that we are not deterred.
Yeah.
I would like to know how you gauge the fact that he has 90% support in the state, because there are other people too that are saying that the Wike faction is also heavily favored by some sections in the state.
Yes. Well, I mean, I think the reason, well, let me not tell you the reason why you're asking that question. I'll just go straight to go straight to the answer. The answer is even a blind person can see Fubara is commissioning projects because outside of everything he is going through, he is determined. And put yourself in his position just for a moment and see what you can achieve, what he has achieved, what you can achieve, based if you are put under the same circumstances that Fubara has been put on to work under.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time with us this morning. We continue to see how things unfold in Rivers State, and hopefully what we're praying for is for peace to reign and for the people of Rivers State to begin to enjoy the dividends of their vote for the government.